the overall system with the landlords and renters needs to change. It's like, it's really bad. Like, you shouldn't be afraid of buying an investment property and like you're rolling the dice that you're going to have a good or bad renter.
Oh, this guy is, you know what? Rolling the dice. Go for it.
This is a serious one.
It's
like,
serious.
out of all the red flags,
this is very important.
If you're playing Monopoly with your realtor and they come in last, maybe one time it's a fluke, whatever, but consistently, if they come in last, you gotta cancel that contract.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bottom Line Podcast. It's episode 10. I'm here with 10. We made it to double digits. Pretty good, right? Not 100, but maybe we'll get there one day. We'll see how things go. You guys like the first 9 episodes, so we're cruising along pretty well now. Thank you for tuning in, of course. I'm here with, as always, Mike from Remax.
Hello.
And I'm here with Tony from Sherwood Mortgage Group.
That's me.
And how you guys doing?
Todo bien.
Good.
Todo bien, man.
Wow.
The sun is shining. It's
you look great, by the way. You look like you just came from the cigar lounge.
I got the glasses. I got the
stogies.
Yeah, but you're representing, eh? You still got the that's the old school logo. That's vintage.
This is vintage.
That's vintage now. You guys,
you can find that in consignment stores right now.
Yeah,
probably, yeah.
People are
thrift stores. Yeah.
People are trying.
Try to get your hands on that.
We can't find this.
Tough.
We can't find this.
If you're one of our first clients and you have one of those logos, you're the real MVP. For sure. You look like, I mean, did you just come off the plane? Is your luggage still at Pearson? Or
I'm on my way. After this, I got to catch a flight. So let's get right into
Tony
it.
Topes. Okay.
Let's get right into it. We never asked you how you doing. You're okay?
Well, that'd be nice too.
You're okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're always doing good.
Yeah,
anytime we're filming a
peachy
podcast,
yeah,
peachy.
Peachy.
Get your feet wet.
Yeah. You're good.
Getting into today's episode, we're going to be chatting a little bit about the federal budget and what it means for first-time buyers, investors,
Canadians in general,
right? What it means for the mortgage industry, what it means for the housing industry, so on and so forth. And that being said, Tony, I have a question for you.
Ask away.
The question is...
Tell me what your question is.
The question is... we're just going to jump right into it.
Yeah.
CMHC, there's new rules coming out with in relation to CMHC. Can you touch upon it?
Yeah, I'll touch them all. And I'm going to say that essentially the big highlight that from this new budget that came out, the proposition was to increase the amortization on insured mortgages. Okay, so from 25 to 30 years. And the idea here is that, if you can increase the amortization, you should be able to qualify for more and be able to, afford more, right? So for those who don't quite understand what that means, essentially, if you're purchasing a property that's under $1 million, you're allowed to put down less than 20%. If it's over $1 million, it has to be 20% down payment. Those purchases that are below $1 million and less than 20% down payment are always insured, right? And that's where you're seeing those better rates because it's backed by insurance corporation that will, pay out the lenders if you default on your mortgage. So those are typically only allowed to be amortized over 25 years. Now they're increasing it to 30 years, and that's it. Now you can afford a home, and everybody's happy. Problem solved.
Done.
We're good.
Solution.
We're good. Everything's
Solution
good
to the housing
If
crisis.
you don't get into the market in the next 2 weeks, you're doing something very
You're done.
wrong.
Right now, the problem is solved. First-time home buyers, everybody in Canada can afford to buy a home
house.
now,
Yeah,
right?
I'm going to buy 5.
I'm going to amortize over an extra 5 years, maybe improve my affordability
Can
by
I be
30,
a
40
first-time home
grand.
buyer 5 times?
Yeah, 5 times over, right? So if they don't let people amortize over 100 years, they're not going to be able to afford these homes. Okay, this is a makeshift, gimmick type of problem solving, band-aid solution, whatever you want to call it. They added in like the go.
No, so basically you go from 25 to 30 years. How many? He'll do the quick math. How many more payments is that? Like, do you get how many more? I drag the number.
Instead of 25 years to 30, so you're going from 300 amortization to 360.
Okay.
So 60 more payments.
60 more months of paying interest.
If you do monthly.
Ratio.
But I guess the whole objective.
The idea
is
to make
your spending power a little bit better.
Yeah,
right?
but it doesn't make that big of a difference right now. It's
only
only going to help those few first-time home buyers who are right at the cusp of qualifying.
Yeah.
Right. So if you weren't that person, like you were priced way out, you're still priced way out, right? Like 5 more years of amortization is not going to help. You need a combination of things. You need a higher paying job. You need less debts. You need lower interest rates. You need a lower purchase price, right? All of those things are brought into that equation. You need inflation to be down dramatically so that your overall cost of living is lower. You need a combination of many, many different things to be able to afford a home in this country. And 5 extra years of amortization on insured loans is not going to be your solution.
Yeah. Question for you. On those
ask it.
CMHC products, does it cost more to break the product after if you sell the house? Is there more of a penalty as opposed if you went uninsured? Or
well, it's prepaid insurance already rolled into the overall mortgage, right? So the insurance company's policy is already being paid out up front, right? And it's rolled into the mortgage. Okay. So when you're breaking it, it's still the same concept as to whether or not you had your fixed or variable, right? So your interest rate differential or 3 months interest. So it's still in essence not going to change much. Okay, maybe for a very small select group it's going to make a difference. It's like, yeah, now I could get in and just pay my interest for longer, yay, right? But that's it, right? Yeah, you get your home, that's great, or you get your investment, but it's not really a solution.
Essentially.
Alternatively, they also mentioned in the same budget the increase in RSP withdrawals. So it increased as of April 16th from 35,000 to 60,000. Okay, so you can withdraw up to 60,000 in your RSPs between 2 people. Now it's 120,000.
But there's a caveat with that, right?
Tell us what that caveat is.
I want you to
tell us the caveat.
Tell us
Give me
what
the
it
caveat.
is. You know what it is.
Well, you got to pay it back.
Yeah, right. So it's like you got to pay it back within 15 years.
And RSPs are for what? What does it stand for? Your retirement.
Yeah. Right? They're trying to take from one to live for now.
And this is for first-time home buyers.
Yeah, first-time home buyers
that are trying to save.
Yeah, sorry.
So who has that much saved?
Yeah,
and that's another question.
Yeah,
who has that much saved?
60,000 in their RSPs. I don't know.
As a first-time buyer.
As a first-time home buyer. That's what I'm trying to say.
Usually people who've accumulated money over years, right?
Absolutely.
So really,
one very important caveat.
Yes.
Okay. I like that word. I'm recycling it.
Caveat.
One important caveat is in the wording in this budget. It says newly built homes.
Oh, here we go.
So hold on. Let me ask a question because I haven't looked at that part of the way you've looked at that.
It says newly built homes.
So you're telling me you
can increase your amortization up to 30 years on newly built homes.
Pre-cons.
Yeah.
That's what I get from that. That's what I get. Like if it was just built a year ago, that's still pretty new. That's a new build.
That's a new build. Yeah.
But you're not buying,
resale.
Right?
But it's resale. You're not buying from the
builder.
So
essentially what they're saying is they're going to make these incentives for all these new developments that are apparently going to happen on public lands and this and that. Which public lands? Unclear, right? They're going to build X amount on public land, but they're not stating where. What if it's out in, God's country and you're
watered down
out of you're way
Wyerton
out of
Willie
GTA, right? Like you don't know where these new builds are going to be, and only on those you can increase your amortization. So it's like very, very wishy-washy type of solutions.
So my question to both of you guys: why do you think it's for newly built homes? There's obviously a reason. They don't just when they're coming up with these budgets, there's a method to the madness. What do you guys think?
They're trying to maybe incentivize the builders to continue building now so that it attracts first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
Because they've been pretty slow, the builders right now. Not just they're not building.
Yeah. Not a lot.
Yeah.
We talk about it. We talked about it last episode. You guys aren't a fan of them. I'm not a fan of them, but it's condos. They want people to build up. They want to build as many condos as possible,
15-minute cities,
and get people and get people up in the sky in these newly built homes that are going to be affordable and near transit and this and that. It doesn't matter which political party is in power. That's the plan.
This doesn't apply. Sorry, this doesn't apply to just homes. This is condos.
Yeah. They said purchasing newly built.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
Okay.
So a home, it could be a condo, could be a townhouse, could be a detached.
Okay.
Right. I highly doubt that a detached that's brand new anywhere in this country, unless anywhere within the GTA, is going to be affordable for a first-time home buyer who is not getting 90% of that down payment gifted from
mama and papa,
from the bank of mama and papa. Right. Or even
the BOP.
Yeah,
what do you think
of the parents?
Right. So
what do you think it is?
All about?
I would agree with you. I think they're trying to incentivize first-time home buyers to buy newly built properties, and I would also agree with you that they're trying to incentivize building of condos and apartments, or even condo towns, whatever the case may be. They want to obviously cram us. They don't want to give you that much space, obviously, right? Even think of it from a builder's perspective. If I can build, a 20-foot lot for a townhouse, a condo townhouse, even a 15-foot lot sometimes, as opposed to a 25-foot lot for a semi, or a 30-foot lot for
you make more money.
You're making more money. You're building more homes in the same area, right? I hate it personally. I don't like it at all. But again, if it's the only thing you can buy, no problem. But my whole thought about this now is when you guys were saying this is, what does that do for somebody who's a first-time home buyer who did what we said? We were talking about last episode. I don't know if you guys remember last episode. We talked about, Mike and I, we're trying to get first-time home buyers into townhomes. We're trying to get them into semis. We're trying to get them into single-car family detached. What do you think it does to those homes? If everybody's building a condo and you have a townhome, right? Be it, you might not be in the same area. One's downtown, one's in Bradford, one's in Newmarket, one's in Aurora, whatever the case may be, Tottenham, wherever. South Simcoe, Allison, whatever.
Orange.
What does that do to that townhouse? It allows for your townhouse to have more desirability. Is that a word, desirability? I don't know if that's a word.
Yeah.
So it allows that townhouse to be more desirable, I should say, right?
It makes it. It doesn't even. It makes it.
It makes it. Yeah, 100%.
Right? It differentiates.
If you're a young family and you have one child, when you have that second child, you might not be able to live in that condo.
But
anymore,
the counter to this is, does it not make it more expensive then?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So
if there's less of them, and all they're building is condos, and then these properties they want to get into, and you guys are advising your clients to get into now, right? It's going to be more expensive later when there's less of those types of properties in circulation.
And that's the whole reason why we're trying to bring our clients that. And again, we said it last episode, and we'll say it again, if you can. It all depends on your risk management. It all depends on your debt service, your qualification. It all depends what you can and cannot
Don't have a car payment.
Right?
For the love of God.
Yeah.
Prepay that.
Yeah. I don't know how. Yeah, exactly. No cars. No vacations, nothing.
Right.
Homes. No, but it allows you, right, to gain that value, to gain that equity a little bit quicker in those freehold properties. Again, if you can only afford a condo, your money is still well spent in a condo, depending where you are. Obviously, not everything is a good buy, but you need to be advised properly. But that being said, this is why we said this last episode, we're pushing people towards this direction, right?
In essence, this does not solve no affordability issue in no way, shape, or form. There is no way that the demand can be met for the number of human beings that are in this country and the rate at which these homes are being built. There is no doubt that there needs to be incentives for builders, for municipalities to ramp up the production. We need to get skilled workers who would be able to, contribute to this and be able to help build homes. Otherwise, homes in this country will just continue to become more and more unaffordable and unattainable for anyone. Okay, there will be those select few that will own, and this will be a renter's nation.
And to add to that, there needs to be a large influx of homes at the same time. Because if there's only one builder, if you have one builder that just builds 20 homes, there's going to be such a demand for those homes.
Well, we saw it in Queensville. We saw it.
Yeah, a year ago. What was it? I don't even know when.
It wasn't that long ago. No. But Mike, thank God we had Mike there. Mike had to fight our way in our position in line because there was people literally pushing you, trying to push you out of the way.
They were going around the back of the building to sneak in. This was crazy.
It was nuts.
This is mayhem.
It was nuts. We were slapping our client's credit card on the counter like screaming to grab the property. And thank God we did, because they've gained some equity. They're closing very soon. Actually, they've gained already 150 grand in equity.
Yeah.
And he bought when the market was pretty elevated.
Yeah.
Right?
And it still went up in value. That was a good one.
For example, if there was more builders in that area,
Yeah.
maybe let's say another 1,000 homes,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have that.
But this country is so monopolized, I would say, that even when it comes to
Are you foreshadowing something?
I am foreshadowing something there with that word. It's should have just went with it. Oh man, you guys will know what I'm talking about in a couple minutes. This country is very monopolized in that sense, where even if you guys know better than me, that development, who's building that development?
That was
It's a conglomerate of builders.
Yeah.
Right. So even to build one measly subdivision, you need the power, right? The capacity, all the tools,
the bee's knees
of 4 or 5 different big time builders.
Big time, not
Big
part
time.
time, big time.
Not little Mickey Mouse. Those are all big builders building in that one subdivision.
They could have increased the price that day when we were all in line. They could have
Yes.
increased the price by 10-15% that morning before
Easy.
they opened the doors.
Easy, without
They
a
still
doubt.
would have sold out in seconds. That's how insane it was.
Yeah.
And
it was.
just for context,
And
this was not
soon
that
will
long
be.
ago.
Yeah,
This
it
was
wasn't that
about a
long ago.
year. About a year ago.
It soon will be the same.
Let's switch gears a little bit. Still talk about the federal budget, but I want to ask Mike. They came out with news about capital gains, as everybody has heard.
Yes.
So
Some people, the rich folk of the country, are up in arms
up in arms
about this capital
Yeah.
gains
Uh,
tax.
who are the rich? I guess, right? Like,
No, not just the rich, the good investors,
Investors.
Yeah,
who are
people
savvy.
who are savvy,
Yeah,
people who put their money in the right
are not
spot.
happy. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, touch on it if you can.
Yeah, so no, that's who's being targeted with this, is the investors.
Mhm.
Really, to me, I look at it as that they are discouraging people having multiple properties,
Mhm.
having investments. And what this will do, I think it's gonna create a sell-off. I think a lot of these investors might
Really?
start selling their properties
Mhm.
because they don't want to deal
Well, we're
with.
seeing it in the cottage market, right? I saw
Yeah.
that in the news as well as cottage markets. There's all kinds of sell-off going on. So good
Yeah.
time to buy a cottage if you have the money. Right?
Possibly, yeah. They want to either offload, or maybe now they are gonna think, well, this is in effect. I'm not gonna sell now. It's gonna cause
It's
either
one or the other. That's what I was gonna. That was gonna be my counter.
Yeah. And also maybe for new investors that maybe they had money saved up, they're ready to buy an investment. Maybe they're like, you know what? I'm not going to invest here anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going to look somewhere else. I'm going to go look at the States or a different country,
Go to
right?
the States, go down south, deep down south to South America.
And just
Caribbean.
for context, what we're chatting about is the capital gains tax increase from 50% to 66%
Yes.
if you have more than $250,000 worth of equity. Equity in that, capital gains, I should say.
Profit, yeah.
In that property. This affects investments. It also affects estates as well.
And it's taking effect.
June, I think I have it written down. I think June 25th. Yeah, June 25th. And like to what you were saying, people are either going to offload right now. People are offloading because they don't want to pay that 16% increase in capital gains, which is if you're taking $1 million profit on your property, that's 160 grand. $500,000, that's 80 grand. Right?
It's huge.
It's huge. $250,000
like...
profits, an extra 40 grand, so on and so forth. Right? And that's a lot of money. That's life-changing money. That's life-changing money we're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to see, and what we have been seeing is people are trying to offload their investment properties now, so they are only taxed on that 50% instead of 66%. But what you will see after June 25th is you might not see an investment property go on the market until things change again.
Until things change, right? These guys are comfortable. They may hold.
They're holding. They have equity. They
to
have
a fire
money,
sale
so,
or hold. That's all that's going to happen.
And what happens if we hold?
If
we hold
less houses on
less
the market,
inventory. So
less inventory.
It's actually going to work in reverse. I know we shake our head because sometimes we look at these federal budget.
That's not what they
updates.
intended at all.
We look at these federal budgets and we're thinking like, why? Like it's very short-sighted sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And we look at it and we say this is going to actually impact us negatively, and this is exactly what I think this is going to do. I think that after June 25th, you're going to see people, because let's face it, there's people like our parents' age in their 50s, the boomers, let's call them the boomers, they've had investment properties. They were able to purchase investment properties and they have equity in them, right? So at the end of the day, they're saying to themselves, what am I selling for? So I can lose an extra 80 grand. Hold on, rent it. When things change, I'll sell them. All it does is take down the inventory, less properties to purchase. And those aren't just cottages. People buy investment properties anywhere. They buy them in subdivisions, townhomes, they buy condos. It affects all types of property. And inventory is going to come down because of that, in my opinion. Obviously, everybody has their own opinion in that sense, but that's how I see things happen.
Some people are big on thinking that it's going to be a fire sale. People are going to sell them all before before this takes effect. I highly doubt it.
Depends what kind of position.
Depends on the position. But those people, those savvy investors, they're going to hold.
Yeah.
They're going to hold. Capital gains tax has gone up and down, up and down. Yeah. It goes up on a whim, down on a whim. Like it changes all the time, often, right? Yeah, so it's not something fluid. That is, going to be permanent.
Will this affect the house flipping market, though?
Right? Yeah, they've definitely put those in effect. Like they've put in those anti-flipping tax already.
Absolutely.
So it is something that would maybe deter people from doing that for sure. Yeah. Right. So there's less and less of that going on nowadays, right?
I mean, you can still do it.
Of course, there's niches.
Yeah. If you're going to get hit with all these taxes,
why invest?
Why? So if you're very savvy.
My next point that I wanted to ask you guys: people, we see it all the time. They're bringing money out of Canada, right? And we've talked about it in episodes past. Mike, what do you think's happening right now with investors? Are we taking money out? Are we leaving it in Canada? Are we reinvesting? There's a bit of both. It all depends on scenario, obviously. But people who have some money that want to spend.
Trips.
Yeah, we went to the States to see.
Tell us about it.
Story time.
Mike's boots on the ground. Right? Yeah. Mike's boots on the ground.
I think it's a good story. No?
Yeah, no, it's with all these new rules that are here, it's tough. Yeah. It's tough to make money.
Where'd you go again?
I went to Ohio, Toledo.
Toledo, yeah.
Toledo, Columbus.
And you went to Florida.
Columbus and went to Florida, yeah. So basically, there's a lot of opportunities over in the States. There's a cheaper entry point. You don't have all these restrictions and laws and people the government trying to take your money essentially. So if you're a savvy investor, and I'm not saying like if you want to buy, you have some money set aside, you want to buy one property here, don't want to worry about it. I get it. You just buy something, take effect with the laws, whatever you got to pay, you got to pay.
Still mature over here.
Yeah.
You'll still get good rent, all that jazz.
Yeah. But if you want to just take it to the next level and you're really like a savvy investor and you want to build like some sort of empire, you have to take a look at some other areas. Like the States, to me, in my personal opinion, is a lot better. If you want to build like a set of like 10 homes, for example, 10 rental properties, just because
less red tape.
Yeah, there's less red tape. It's just easier to get into. Initially, it might be hard because you got to set up a corporation and all that. But long term, it's easier to get into.
And it seems daunting, right? It does seem daunting. Like, I got to bring my money to the States. What the heck's going on over there? I know nobody there. It does seem very daunting.
That's where we can help. But we can set you up.
I was going to say, it's not that difficult. Like, you even have products.
Yeah, products, people. We have a whole network set up south of the border. So it just takes a phone call and we connect you with the right people who are, some are just straight American and some were, Canadians who moved down there or people who have businesses that are both in Canada and in the US. So it's a very doable task, a doable goal. It's an attainable goal, and we can help.
More attainable than you would think.
Yeah, just way easier than you think.
Look, like you can in a property in Ohio, you can buy a duplex for $100K. Yeah. Okay, and I'm talking this not.
You can buy a parking spot in Toronto.
We're talking about it. Maybe in Maple, you might get a parking spot.
It's a duplex, that parking spot. You can sleep in the front seat or the back seat.
There you go.
Get to choose. Triplex if you want to sleep in the trunk.
You pick.
And this property is not destroyed. It's like for $100K, it's like it's livable. Maybe not like super nice, but it's livable.
It's rentable, let's call it.
Let's say we want to go look at a property in Barrie, duplex. How much is it right now?
6 to 7.
Like a detached house.
Oh, yeah, you're probably looking at 7, 8.
Right?
Yeah.
So
like that.
You can buy 8 of them. When
you put it that way, right?
Right?
Yeah.
And that house in Barrie, you'll be probably break even. You'll break even.
You're not at the 1% rule, that's for sure. And for everybody who doesn't know the 1% rule, it's basically if let's say you buy a house for $600,000, you should be renting it for $6,000 a month. That's the 1% rule. Which is much more attainable in the States than it is in the GTA currently. Now, granted, there are some pockets in the GTA that this can still happen. And if you want to know more about that, reach out to us. We have some information on that. We're actually looking for a client right now, looking for a duplex that has that 1% rule in effect. So it is possible.
It's still achievable.
Yeah,
100%.
but I think what Mike is saying is great. If you're trying to build an empire, if you're trying to grow and have 10, 20, 30, 40 properties, it's not a bad idea to take a look at the States, and we can connect you to somebody, of course, because it's very hard to, one, trust anybody, two, know anybody in certain areas. And we have those connections. Mike as well, boots on the ground. He went to Ohio. Did you get stuck in an elevator?
I did. That was scary.
Yeah, I thought you got
that was in Florida. That was
Florida.
That was Florida.
Yeah,
that was
stuck in an elevator. I could have made a movie out of that one. Yeah, no, that's so it can be done, but like you were saying, empire. And then the other part of that too is financing in the States. Very different. It's not just your cookie cutter, 20% down, conventional mortgage. It's very different. And Tony, maybe you can touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, like I mentioned, we essentially, obviously, I can only facilitate mortgages within the province, right? And then outside of the country or outside even of the province, you have to follow the proper channels. And there is a network in place.
And you've set up our clients with those networks too. Yeah.
So we've connected people, outside of the province of Ontario,
Alberta,
outside of the country of Canada, right?
Vancouver.
So, we did Alberta, we did Vancouver, and Florida is our big spot where a lot of people are heading, and have our clients at least have been making moves down there, right? So we facilitate that, transition, that kind of that handoff, where we know that you're still going to be getting that great service and that knowledge, right? That education as to what it's like to buy a place down there, from accounting, lawyers, mortgage brokers, or even within the banks.
The whole branch,
right?
The whole arm of
the whole
of
9
real
yards.
estate investing.
Yeah, it's all taken care of, just through simple phone call.
Yeah.
And so it's a good little setup, and I think that that kind of it shows you the faith that people have right now in the country, right? Like, in investors wise, like in our economy, there's not much of that, right? There's not much opportunity where, those who are really creative have to kind of take their money out. If your goal, I'm going to say this with, take that all with a grain of salt. If your goal, like Mike was saying, is to really build your real estate portfolio astronomically.
So brings me to my next point. Power of sales have been a big topic recently.
That's where people still have that
in the
opportunity,
real estate market, right? Have you seen an influx of power of sales at all? Have you heard about anything?
Yeah, they've been on the rise. They've been increasing slowly. And I think most of that is, as Tony would probably say, it's because of the mortgage. That's because of the rates. Their payments went from a 2% rate to 6-7, and they can't hold anymore. Yeah. We're seeing it, right?
You would think that it'd be higher, right? We were all expecting like this massive spike,
this uptick of power of sales.
Just a big spike, because these rates are ludicrous. People are, losing their shirts. Yeah. But Canadians have been resilient, right? They've found a way to stay afloat. Yeah. They've been, they've endured. They've endured.
They have.
Whether they're enduring with more debt.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so taking from lines of credit, taking from equity, taking from savings to be able to stay afloat is another story. And that's being closely monitored. Right. But that uptick in defaults, which then results to that slight uptick in power of sales, it's not as high as we thought. To quote what they say in the news, it's still historically low. Right. So that's wild considering.
Makes me laugh.
It's wild considering how much stuff costs.
Yeah.
And what inflation has got into, and the day-to-day cost of living here in this country. Yeah. It's not happening as frequently as you would think. Yeah. Right. Canadians have been able to kind of withstand.
We do see them, though. We do see.
But you are seeing an uptick. Yes.
They're starting to go up. We've done some, not deals, but we've negotiated with a couple, and you can tell the stress levels that they're trying to sell this house. Like, it's
and it's not even sometimes the power of sales. It's sometimes people on the brink of power of sales. So you might not see it as a power of sale, but for example, I'm dealing with a house right now that investor purchased. We're trying to buy it, but an investor purchased it 2 years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago, with the intent of renting it out. They have a fantastic renter in there. I met the tenant. I've never seen a tenant as awesome as this couple. they keep that house better than a homeowner would keep this house. So they have a great tenant. That's not the problem. They pay the rent on time, good rent too. The problem is they didn't lock in when rates were low and they rode the wave on variable. They're upside down like $3,000 a month, I think, right now. They are underwater. And they have to get rid of it. Now they're still selling the property, but sooner or later it might be the bank repossessing it and then they're selling the property, right? So maybe it's not a power of sale, but people are on the brink sometimes of being a power of sale. So you see a lot of that too right now.
That renter who takes care of that house and probably has a really good, always makes their payments and whatnot. That's going to impact their credit score.
Oh, that's actually a good topic. Yeah, because that came out in the news too, right?
That's what they want now.
And the news is, just so if anybody doesn't know, tenants now can, or they're going to be able to report their rental payments to Equifax, and it'll be able to go against their credit score. It can improve their credit score, right? Some people love it. Some people are all for it, and some people are against it. You can imagine who's against it and who's for it.
Who do you think?
I'm gonna say
doesn't want to report.
There's a lot of tenants. You know what? This is funny. I saw a Facebook group that was set up. Say no to the new tenant rules of reporting payments, this and that. And obviously, it's tenants who don't pay their rent, because at the end of the day, if they have to report their rent payments,
and they don't
and
pay
it's
rent,
0, the credit score is going to go 650, 620, 580, 550, zero. Yeah, no credit, bankrupt.
Ciao.
Go to jail. What's that mean?
Go to jail.
Straight to jail.
Straight to jail.
Another one.
No, all joking aside, so that's happening right now, right?
They're even verifying income. That's another proposition. For mortgage applications through
rental payments
through CRA.
Through
CRA.
Yeah. Oh,
and,
wow.
People are a little bit hesitant about that too, right? Because stated income products and stuff will be a little bit harder to qualify for. So
now, if you're a good tenant, this is amazing news, right? If you're a good tenant, this is amazing news. My rent is going to go towards my credit score. Like it's going to be able to improve my credit score. It's incredible. So people like this that I'm talking about that are renting that place, I was telling you, it's amazing for them, right? It allows them to build that credit score. People who don't pay their rent,
The only thing I have with that is, like, what if their rent is so low and doesn't compare to what the average mortgage payment would be like?
That's the tricky part, right?
And it's like, they're great for low payments, but then it's like, okay, let's say the average mortgage payment is $3,000 a month, and they're scoring great on a $2,000 a month rental payment.
They're still making towards their credit. They're still making their payment though, right?
What I'm saying is they're making the payment, right? But then there's that factor of, can they afford $3,000? And how good are they going to be on $3,000?
Yeah,
right? So that's where the stress test, all that stuff is, very important. So
the overall system with the landlords and renters needs to change. It's really bad. Like, you shouldn't be afraid of buying an investment property and like you're rolling the dice that you're gonna have a good or bad renter.
Oh, this guy is, rolling the dice is something that I think we need to talk about.
Let's talk about
that's twice now.
The red flag that we have for today, Mike.
Take it away. The red flag of the day.
Let us know about the rolling of the dice. Don't roll a dice. Okay. Go for it.
This is a serious one.
It's serious.
Out of all the red flags,
this is very important.
Of all the red flags that we've done, I think
the red flag of all red flags,
one of the most important ones. Okay, if you're playing Monopoly with your realtor and they come in last, maybe one time it's a fluke, whatever, but consistently, if they come in last, you gotta cancel that contract.
So if they're buying utilities. That's not
if they're
good.
buying utilities, if they're going by, they're not buying properties. We got problems.
They don't own a whole strip.
If
they don't have red houses,
they don't put the hotels.
No good.
They need to be on Fifth Avenue too. They need to be on the right side of
on the good side
of the board, right? Yeah.
See? And that's what for those.
You know what's? I want to add to that. What if you're sitting around, like you're having drinks with some friends at the table. Somebody brings up, let's play a Monopoly, and the realtor goes, no, let's play Trouble.
Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah, that's a red flag.
That's a red
Your
flag.
realtor should always want to play Monopoly.
100%.
I can attest. Quite the Monopoly player, right?
Thank you.
Right? I remember our pandemic. We
played a couple
pulled
games.
out the board games here and there.
I think Mike even has the hat and the little glasses for.
They might put his face as the new logo. They might put his
Mike
face
and Monopoly.
Yeah, Mike and Monopoly, 100%.
That's awesome. In terms of bottom lines, let's segue to that. What would be your bottom line for this podcast, Mr. Catalano?
For this episode, I would say that my bottom line is that despite the efforts, we'll call it, and changes that are coming about for amortizations on insured products, there's still too much gray area as to where that's going to apply in terms of the newly built homes. And so my bottom line is that this is not going to help in any which way. Maybe it's going to help, a very, very small percentage of people who are on the brink of qualification, but this does not in any which way address the affordability crisis that we have in this country. And they can make all these band-aid fixes as they wish, but there's bigger problems at hand, and we mentioned them throughout the podcast. So my bottom line is that it's not. This doesn't really change much.
Band-aid solution.
Yeah.
Band-aid solution for very, very deep wounds.
I like that.
It's deep.
We need stitches.
I was gonna
Get the staples out.
Possibly staples. Mike Monopoly, what do you?
Mike Monopoly, talk to us.
I was gonna say
the bottom line?
these announcements similar to yours. Like, take them with a grain of salt. I know they put them in the news and they make them like big statements, but as a buyer, like, they're not gonna make crazy changes necessarily. So don't jump into them and be like, oh, this is going to be life-changing for me, right? So don't roll the dice with these announcements.
Let's play Monopoly.
Yeah. That's great. My bottom line is pretty simple. If you're thinking of investing, yes, we talked about a lot of things that negatively impact the GTA and investing. I will say with the caveat that we spoke a lot about today. There are areas that you can still rent for that 1% rule. So it's very important that there are still areas, and you will see maturity in those markets as well as the years go on with your investment. So you will see equity tick up. But if you are looking to build an empire, you should consider thinking outside the box. You should consider potentially going south of the border and exploring those options, because it might be more beneficial to you. That being said, if you need a connection, we have plenty.
La conexión.
So you just let us know, and we'll be happy to make the connection. Anytime we can help people make money with their money, we're very happy with helping in any way we can. Nevertheless, thank you for tuning into episode 10. We're at double digits for the bottom line episode.
Yeah. Well done,
thank
boys.
you very much. We made it to 10. That's pretty good. Well done, gentlemen. Nice. And we will definitely see you on the next one. There will be an 11 for sure. And we will talk very soon. Thank you for tuning in. Again, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. You can catch our podcast anywhere there at the bottom line. Or again, we have reels on Instagram, TikTok, whatever the case may be. We are everywhere. So just reach out, comment. We're everywhere.
CP24.
Yeah. Reach out, comment, like, subscribe, whatever the case may be. Thank you for your input. It honestly, it means a ton to us. And we'll see you at the next one. Cheers.
Gracias.